Hey guys, I'm Desikan, and in today's video, what can you expect to see? One thing you can expect to see a lot of lipstick on my teeth because one, my teeth is stained and all of that powderiness from some of these lipstick have gotten onto my teeth, so excuse that. And apart from that, what else can you see? You can see some of the Sugar best-selling lipsticks that were your absolute favorite. So we're going to be rewinding for a little bit of nostalgia. We're going to take you back in time and make you use some of your favorite shades, bring them back out, stop buying newer shades each time just because I'm recommending them. And also, so we're going to be swatching some of their best-selling shades, some of their like fast-selling shades, which used to be super pop, which used to be, why am I saying everything differently? Popular. I was going to say popular. Some things that used to be super popular back in the day. We're going to be swatching all of those. I don't really have all the shades. Some of them have been discontinued. Some of them I just don't have. So I have a couple of different shades to swatch. The time is around 12 right now, and yeah, it's about time for me to wind up the video. So you guys enjoy watching the video. Let's get started. So the first one I'm going to be talking about is the Sugar Nothing Else Matter lipstick, and this one is in the shade Browning Glory. This is such a nice warm brown nude shade for my skin tone. I really like the formula of this. It's not very like rigid and it doesn't tug and pull on the lips, and it's not too drying as well. And it has like a very nice soft matte finish, like a matte finish. It's not very sheeny looking on the lips as well. The next one we have is again from the Nothing Else Matter range, and this one is in the shade 08 Berry Picking, and this is like a pink toned berry shade which is so beautiful, pigmented, and looks really nice on a lot of different skin tones. It's one of their best selling shades again. The next one we have is again from the Nothing Else Matter range, and this one is in the shade Teak Over. It has a little bit of burgundy brown undertones to it. It's very nice, and I feel like this is the shade that is closest to Swiss Beauty Bronze, although Swiss Beauty Bronze is a lot more affordable and very pigmented as well. But this is a shade again that would flatter a lot of different skin tones and something that can be a little bit different from your usual reds, nudes in your collection. Next up we have a shade called Brown Town Abbey from their It's About Time Vivid Lipstick range, and this range, most of the shades have been discontinued except this shade in Brown Town Abbey and Better Call Salmon. Now I'm not a very big fan of this formula because it's very rigid. You have to tug and pull on your lips a little bit, and also it's a little waxy looking on the lips as well. Not the best. I feel like they discontinued this to bring in the Nothing Else Matter range, and that was a lot better than this. So not a very big fan of this formula, and it's good that they discontinued it. You're not missing out on anything much. Only regret that I have from this is that I didn't pick up the shade 6 Feet Umber. Like, it looked like an interesting shade, and now I can't get my hands on it as well. Next up we have the Sugar X Wonder Woman lipstick. This one is in the shade Justice. This is one of my absolute favorite shade. It's like a dusty burgundy shade. Very, very beautiful, quite unique. The only thing is that the formula is not the best. It is a little bit waxy, and it does fade away even if you're like just talking or like slurping something with a spoon or a straw. It just fades away from the center of your lips, and you have to reapply it throughout the day. But just the shade is amazing. Out of that entire collection, I feel like this is like their standout shade. I'm done with the usual shades, so always looking for something a little bit different. Next up we have the Sugar X Wonder Woman Creamy Matte Lipstick, and this one is in the shade 07 Claiborne. This is a very muted, sort of like a mauvey pink shade, and would look really nice on people of my skin tone as well without makeup. It used to be one of my favorite shades to wear without makeup, and it's very, very comfortable on the lips. It glides on. It does transfer quite a bit, but it's not drying, and it's not like waxy like other lipstick that I showed from the Sugar X Wonder Woman collection. So next up from the same collection, I have the shade called 03 Crime Fighter, and this is a purple toned deep pink shade, and this would look really nice on a lot of different skin tones, but it's not that much of a unique shade, and you can find this even in Sugar itself in different ranges. So this is one shade that they keep bringing up with each launch, so it just depends on the formula that you like. But I feel like this shade is quite common, but nonetheless it is a beautiful shade, and it's really nice for this time of the year as well. The formula is really comfortable. Next up, I'm going to be swatching the Sugar Metal Satin lipstick, and the first shade we have is the shade Gabriella. So the packaging of this is what maybe a lot of people first bought into, and that is why they would have gone ahead and bought some of the shades. I'm not going to deny that the shades were really eye-catching and everything. It's raining heavily. There's like huge like thunderstorms. So not gonna deny that the shades were really pretty, but you get just 2.2 grams of product, and this one retails for 999 rupees. It's not affordable at all. I feel like Sugar, some of their products, the price per quantity just doesn't add up. Like this one, it's 2.2 grams and you pay 999 rupees for this. But this is the shade Gabriella, which is a cool toned mauvey pink shade. It looks very similar to Maybelline Touch of Spice. Again, would not suit people of medium tan and deeper skin tone without makeup. It is something that would work for people of light and light medium skin tone. Next up we have the shade called Eugene, which is a very like purple toned brown shade. It is quite unique. Like I did swatch a couple of shades and I could see that this shade was a little bit unique, but I have something that can be a little bit similar to it for a fraction of the cost. So stay tuned for that video where I will be getting that out. But so far this is a shade, and I feel like people who really like grungy brown shades, you would really like this particular shade. It is definitely grungy. It has a different undertone. It has a little bit of purple as well as a little bit of brown, which is really good. So the next one we have again from the same range is the shade 03 Emma, which is a blue toned beautiful red shade. With that being said, the formula of this is like comfortable creamy matte kind of a formula, like settles down pretty much to a like subtle matte finish, but these do transfer quite a bit. They do bleed quite a bit, so I'm not sure how many people would enjoy this formula and the price that they paid for this, because it's quite steep. Next up, I will be swatching these shades from the Sugar Matte Attack Transfer Proof Lipstick. So from this range, we have a very popular shade which is called 03 Grant Berries, which is a beautiful deep berry shade. Just look at how beautiful it looks on the lips. The formula of this is a little bit like matte, super matte in fact. So I'm not sure how many people would really like this formula, but I like it. I don't really mind it, and this is what the shade looks like. Next up, we have the shade called Tan Helen, which is something that I really enjoyed in the beginning, but the formula has dried down so much in the tube itself that I can't even get it to show up on my lips without tugging and pulling so much, and it's extremely dry and flaky on my lips as well. So this is the maximum pigmentation I could build this one up to. Like I just want to swatch it and show you guys. Like I'm trying, this is amount of pressure I'm putting, and this is all the pigmentation I can actually get out of this. It's a beautiful shade, but oh my god, get it to show up. Your lips literally have to go through hell, and it's patchy. Now next up we have the shade Daft Pink from the same range. Well, this was smooth to apply. It's a beautiful pink shade and has good pigmentation. It didn't dry down in the tube as such, and this is what it looks like on my lips. So here I have swatched the shade Crime Fighter from the creamy matte range. So this one is Crime Fighter, this one is the shade Daft Pink, and this one is the shade Grant Berries. So these two are quite similar, so depending on the formula you can pick up the shade that you like. Next up we're moving to the Matte as Hell lip crayons, which I have a couple of them, so yay, good for me. I'm going to be sitting here for a while now swatching them. Yeah, so this is again one of their best selling range, and they initially started off with the Matte as Hell lip crayons. Again, not great in terms of price per quantity, but most lip crayons are like this, where you get around 2.8 grams of product. But the mass lip crayon and I think the Swiss Beauty lip crayon, you do get a little bit more quantity in them, and they are a little bit more matte than this as well. So depending on how dry your lips are and how you like your formula to be, you can choose. So like I mentioned, I do have a couple of them, and a couple of shades which used to be their popular shades are sold out, and I think they are discontinued as well, so I couldn't find some of them. So I will be swatching whatever I have with me right here. So first up, their all-time popular shade, which is Scarlett O'Hara 01. So this is a beautiful red shade, and it's a very good dupe for MAC Ruby Woo in case you're looking for a better formulation and something that is also of a lesser price point than MAC Ruby Woo itself. Next up we have another very popular shade, I think particularly among people of light and light medium skin tones. This one is in the shade 07 Viola. I feel like this is a very like lilac-y pink shade, which I'm not a very big fan of on my skin tone. It's again, I feel like it reminds me of Maybelline Touch of Spice. So yeah, this would suit you if you are of a lighter skin tone than I am. And then we have the shade called Jackie Brown, which is more like an orange toned red shade with subtle brown hints to it than a brown shade itself. But I don't think the name is supposed to define the shade, but I thought it was going to be a brown shade. So never mind, I think this is a beautiful shade for this time of the year. So the next shade that we have is called Claire Underwood. Such a beautiful warm toned brown shade. I've been reaching out for this kind of a shade a lot this time, and it looks really nice on the lips, especially if you're wearing like any kind of brown outfit. This complements it so well. The next one again is a very popular shade. This one is the Sugar. This one is the lip crayon in the shade Brandy Harrington. Look at this shade. This is beautiful, and this is a really nice nude shade for people of medium tan and deeper skin tone. I feel like you can wear this without makeup. It has a little bit of pink, little bit of red to it. I love this shade. I was gonna swatch this one. It's extremely blunt, but the good thing about Sugar lip crayons is they come with their own sharpener. That's a good thing, because a lot of sharpeners wouldn't fit and then they break the product. This one doesn't, and it's not like they're trying to upsell and cross sell, like buy a lip crayon, buy a sharpener along with it, you know, pay a little bit extra. So next up I have the Matte as Hell lip crayon, and this one is in the shade Baby Houseman, one of my favorite deep pink shades. It's beautiful. It looks good on so many different skin tones. Of course, if you are lighter than me, it might look a little bit too dark. I'm not sure. I often get these comments like, okay, this shade you recommended looks really vampy on me. That depends on your lip pigmentation, your skin tone and everything, but I love this shade. And if you're wondering if it is similar to the shade Cranberries, it is in fact quite similar. So this is the shade Cranberries, and this is Baby Houseman. So this is just extremely matte, and this one has a slight, this one is more of a comfortable matte formula. Most of the time Sugar is always like duping themselves. They're bringing back the same shades in different formulas. So next up I have the shade called Emma Woodhouse. This is again a really popular shade. I was asked to pick up this shade so many times by a lot of my subscribers as well. So this is a nice warm toned peachy kind of a nude shade, and this would look good on people up to medium skin tones without makeup maybe, but like I'm not sure how many people can pull this one off without makeup. At this point, I'm like done guessing as well. And one thing I noticed is these lip crayons have like a candy scent to it, like Poppins. Yeah. What's that sound? I am freaking out because the time right now is 11 and I'm alone in my studio right here. I'm not always this scared, it's just that sometimes I'm like, okay, someone peeping in from a window, you know, my biggest fear. Even though like right now it's all curtained up, I could hear like knocking sounds. So I'm like, please come back later when I'm not here. Ooh, my lips are stained, so beautiful, no? Also my teeth are stained. Oh. Ooh, the last one for the Matte as Hell lip crayon, and this one is in the shade Veronica Mars. What a beautiful warm toned red shade, and has a slight brown hints to it. I really like the undertone of this particular red shade. It has a little bit like terracotta earthy undertones to it. The red, brown, everything so good. Beautiful is what it is. So then moving on to the Sugar Metal Liquid Lipstick. I have quite a few shades from this range, but I feel like these two shades were sold out all of the times. They were fast selling. I think they're still sold out. I don't think you can find them in stock anymore. I'm not sure if they're discontinued. The first one we have is 07 Bellatrix. This is a beautiful mauve, dusty mauve shade, and I think this would look good on so many different skin tones. It's just all about your preference. If you wanted to try out something a little bit different, you can try out this shade. I mean, if it is available in stock. If you have watched my 50 lipstick dupes video, I have a dupe for this from the high-end range. I will link it right here in the cards for you guys to check it out. And the formula of this, not the most long wearing, takes a little bit of a time to dry down on your lips as well, and it's comfortable for me. I don't find it to be extremely drying like the Smudge Me Not liquid lipstick range, but it does transfer quite a bit. Yeah, super shade. Next up I have the shade Mimosa. So this one is a beautiful red indeed. It has a little bit of pink. It is blue toned, it's amazing, but it takes a little bit of building up to do to get it to certain pigmentation. It is a little bit runny as well, and can bleed quite a bit, especially underneath mask and everything, but the shade is beautiful. Next up, we're moving on to the most dreaded formula, the Sugar Smudge Me Not Liquid Lipstick. The first one we have is the Smudge Me Not Liquid Lipstick in the shade 01 Brazen Raisin. This is a warm toned red shade. This was raved after by so many people when they first launched, until a lot of people tried out the formula and were like, excuse me, please, all of you, attention, very drying. What were you all raving about so much? I get it, some of the shades in this, I can't pull it off either, but it's starting to dry down right now on my lips, and it can get a little bit powdery and also get on your teeth, but the shade is beautiful. They have a lot of shade selections and it's amazing. Next up, we have another super popular shade, which is Wine and Shine. This is a beautiful shade, but extremely dry. I don't think I found a shade like this one which is not drying at all. Like, I have the My Glam Lit Liquid Lipstick, which is very similar to this particular shade, but even that is quite drying. And if you want to keep it matte and everything, I feel like it just gets a little drying. I'm not sure if you can blame anybody for that. But oof, the shade is in fact beautiful. Like, if it were to work out and if it was actually a good formulation, just imagine the number of people wearing this out and rocking this shade. Because even though I love this shade so much, I don't see myself reaching out for it as much because of the very drying, powdery texture with which it spreads all over. It gets onto my teeth and everything. Next up, we have the shade Grage Rage, which when it dries down, it's actually like a pinkish red kind of a shade, which I don't know why they named it Grage. I just expected a more cool toned shade out of the name. I think I should just stop believing the names at this point, but this is how the shade looks like. This shade I find is not as drying as Wine and Shine and everything, but it takes quite a bit of a time to dry down on the lips even. It is not comfortable, but it's not as drying as Wine and Shine. I feel like with the newer shades, they did kind of have a slight reformulation. This is in fact a beautiful shade, and this would suit a lot of different skin tones. I feel like the Smudge Me Not Liquid Lipstick range is something that caters towards a lot of different skin tones and people of deeper skin tones again. You would really love the shade range, but I just wish the formula was a lot better, because just look at this shade. Good, no? I agree. I love it too. Next up, we have the shade called Dawn Fawn, which is a little bit like brighter and has a subtle and has slight bit more red hints to it than a Grage Rage. Next up, we have the shade called Wood by Nude, which is a bright peach pink kind of a shade, and this is not my personal favorite, but I have heard a lot of people talk about this particular shade. Next up, we have the shade called Teak Mystique. Now this one again is like a earthy red kind of a shade. It has a little bit of terracotta hints to it, and it's a very popular shade. Again, this one is not as drying as some of their other shades. It does take a little bit of a time to dry down onto your lips, and it does feel heavy. It does feel like it is stripping off the moisture from your lips a little bit, but it's not prominent, like the other person cannot see it. The shade is beautiful indeed and would suit every single skin tone. Next up, I have the shade Divine Praline. This is such a beautiful, like purplish, dusty mauve kind of a shade. Now, if I don't know something, I'm just going to call it dusty purple, dusty mauve, okay? But this shade, I used to wear it out so much and I never found it to be very drying. But right now when I'm wearing it, I feel it's like quite drying on my lips, and it's visibly like shrinking my lips down. I'm not sure if it's changed over time or it's just that my preference has changed over time, but compared to some of their shades like Teak Mystique, Dawn Fawn, I feel like this one is a little bit more drying, but it used to wear beautifully on the lips, and it's a beautiful shade indeed. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Those were all the lipsticks that I wanted to showcase in today's video. Some popular shades, some shades that I feel should be popular and everything. I've swatched it in this video. So let me know some shades that you absolutely love that I haven't shown in this video in the comment section down below. And also let me know what other brand you want me to do next in the comment section down below. And while you're at it, give this video a big thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel. And hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a new video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye. Okay, that was a very depressing bye. Bye.
Yeah, I'm watching the rise, and I wouldn't say I'm shocked, cause I'm hardly surprised. This one's for the ride, this one's for who knew I'd make it, just needed some time.